Hi, so in this video I'm going to show you how to assign a static IP to a particular VM that I've put in a virtual network. So this is the VM that I have that I created, app3, that I put into this particular virtual network. This network here, VNETWORK-BEVTEN. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to RDP into that virtual machine here. So I've RDP'd into this virtual machine. Let me bring up that RDP session. And previously I installed the Azure PowerShell tools, and I actually attached the Azure PowerShell tool and activated my account and tied it to my subscription, my Azure subscription, such that I am working with the particular VMs and the account and the virtual networks that I own. So that's in another video. In this video I'm going to show you actually how to assign a static IP, but that's a prerequisite for this. So I have my Azure PowerShell tool, PowerShell set up. I'm just going to type IP config, and you'll notice my IP address is 10.0.0.4, and I don't want that IP. I want it to be static, and I want to actually reserve a certain IP on my virtual network, such that no other VM is going to use it. So the first command I have is to query the virtual network of the availability of the IP address. So this is the command Test-AzureStaticVNetIP, and I'm asking it, does this 10.0.0.4 IP, is it available? And when I execute this, it's going to come back and it's going to say false, because that's already being used by this this particular. So you'll notice it came back with false, and it tells you what the available addresses are, .5, .6, .7, .8. What I want to do is I want to assign it 22. So my next command is going to be to assign my VM with 22. Now the name of my machine here is actually app3, and the service is the cloud service. So if I go back to my VM here, you see the services here. My cloud service name is the same as my machine name, which is bev10-app3. So that's where this service name comes from. And I'm going to pipe it to another command, which is to set the IP to 10.0.0.22, and then also to update the VM. Now after I do this, it's immediately going to reboot. So I'm gonna, well, it's not gonna immediately reboot, but it's gonna force a reboot. So make sure you closed everything you wanted to close, because once you execute this command, it's gonna shut down the VM. So I've executed the command, and I'm just gonna wait. And it's gonna take a few seconds, probably 20-30 seconds here. So once it reboots, you'll get the static IP you want. The static IP I have here is 10.0.0.22. But not only that, it actually reserves it for this machine on your network. So here, it forced a shutdown, and it's rebooting now. So let me see if I could see that on my particular console. Okay, so now it's so I'm gonna hit cancel there because it's rebooting. If I go back to my virtual machines, you'll see it's starting again. So I'm gonna wait until the machine starts here. It's gonna take a couple of minutes, so I'm gonna pause here. So it says it's starting and it's provisioning, and the next step it's going to be it's running and configuring and then just running. So I'm just going to wait for that a little bit. Okay, so after about 5 minutes or so, it's the VM's running, so I'm going to connect to it. And show you the IP has changed. So if I bring up PowerShell here, and do IP config, you'll see it's 10.0.0.22. So now this IP address is static and it's tied to this computer, this VM, and it's also reserved on my virtual network so that no other VM can actually get it. So that's how you get static IPs, which is something you really need when you're doing applications or you're creating a domain server or a or even you know, a database farm or stuff like that, especially for replication, or even a web farm. It's actually vital that you have static IPs. So this is one way of doing it, and I hope this helps you. Thank you for watching.